My Planet Rocks. The music that shaped a life on Planet Rock.
It's My Planet Rocks here on Planet Rock. My guests this week are RJ and Lizzie from Halestorm. Welcome.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having us.
No,
Good
thank
to be
you
back.
for coming in. I know it feels like every few months you're here, you're going to have to buy a summer home here.
I know, right? And it's great that you say that, because we were just saying that. I was like, man, we come over here a lot now, but like a couple years ago, we never thought we'd ever get here. So it's just really neat to see. And
It's kind of become second home now, you know?
we've discovered that the UK has absolutely the best rock fans, and we're just so happy that they keep wanting us back.
They make us feel right at home.
Yeah.
You're saying the right things. You're going to have to buy a place here.
I know,
Rent a
yeah.
place.
You
Somehow.
have to get a flat.
So back to the really early days, did you grow up in a house where you were introduced to rock, or did one of you discover rock and blues and introduce the other, or how did it work out?
We were influenced a lot by our parents' music, and yes, our parents were like massive classic rock fans, especially our dad. Mom was more into like the kind of pop and disco, and Dad was more into like the Deep Purple, the Led Zeppelin, you know. But they both loved the Beatles, so
They agreed on that.
So yeah, most of our sound, when you hear it, is deeply rooted in classic rock music, and to this day we still go back to it.
Was there a band or a point in your life you thought, I'm hearing this, it's brilliant, I want to make music?
I remember early on, even before I was stunned, by things. I remember you and I now, RJ and I are brother and sister, for those of you listening that don't know that.
Hi, everybody.
So we grew up in the same household, and
Sibling takeover.
I know. And we would watch a lot of like live performance stuff that our parents and our relatives would get for us. So there was a live performance of was a live performance of Vanilla Fudge, of all people.
Vanilla Fudge, The Doors,
and their cover. What was their cover?
Oh, Set Me Free.
Set Me Free. And it was just a crazy like outro performance. And this is the very, very early days of RJ and I jamming together. And I do remember, like, especially you being like, I want to drum like that. I want to do that. So
we soaked it up, and our dad was so excited that we did. Like, yes.
I think his biggest fear was that we were going to become like doctors and lawyers, and he wouldn't know anything about that.
Which is opposite from normal parents.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
But they're like, well, Mom and Dad, we want to be rock and roll stars, and they're like, oh, can we help? Growing up, Lizzie and I were always very close. Some siblings, they kind of like, they either drift apart or they don't get along, but we always really got along because we both mutually love the same kind of music that our parents raised us on.
And you chose a Humble Pie track.
Oh yeah, love those guys. You know what I love about Steve Marriott is that he sings to the audience.
Like in a musical.
I've been listening to a lot of their live records lately, and I just love that. He's like, I just want to tell you that we're gonna play a tribute to the Rolling Stones.
Makes me think. I wonder if R. Kelly ripped him off. just from the singing, talking.
Probably.
Yeah. It's a great track, Black Coffee. Why that one over? I mean, you could have gone with loads.
That was my fault. I think it's
kind
funny.
of pull a name out of a hat. They're all great.
We love all those songs. We covered Black Coffee back in the day, and this was like 2003, something like that. And I just think it's great. It's such a great testament to you can write a song about anything, and even though there is,
we love coffee.
The song can mean whatever you want it to mean, but I take my coffee black probably because of this song.
We drink loads of it. We really do. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah, you're pretty wired.
Yeah. Let's do this. Let's get it going. Got any more coffee?
Pie, Black Coffee. It's My Planet Rocks on Planet Rock. My guests this week, RJ and Lizzie Hale from Halestorm. So did you think that you would be in a band together always, or did you make a pact? If we're going to be in a band, we'll do it together, or how did that come about?
It was never really a question. Do you remember ever really debating that?
I think both of us knew that we wanted to have a career in music, and we just, one year our parents got us like a drum set and got me and a little keyboard, and I think we just kind of naturally started jamming together, and that's kind of how it started. Originally my plan was to like get my friends together in school and make a band and do all this stuff, but all my friends were kind of lame. We kind of went to this very religious Christian school, and they wanted to do like Christ is God music, and we didn't. We were kind of like the black sheep of the school. So I think that's kind of like what made us start jamming together.
That was the only reason I got sent to the principal's office, is because everyone wanted to know where the message was in my music, and I wasn't writing songs like I Get Off on You, Getting Off on Me when I was 13. I was writing songs about my parents and first boyfriend and everything like that. It was very sweet, and it was like I got in big trouble.
I started growing my hair out in school, and my teachers thought, oh, this kid needs an exorcism. He's got the devil in him,
So if you think about it, like really the two of us, we had each other always, and we happened to not play the same instrument. He always could drum, and that's a big reason why we started early. We started Halestorm when I was 13 and he was 10. And one of the biggest reasons that we were able to do that is because he could always keep a beat, so we could always play together.
Oh, thanks, sis.
Yeah, no, you were what happened? You used to be really good.
Yeah.
Getting old. Too much coffee.
I know, that's what it is.
Yeah, I need more.
Yeah. Well, before we talk the early days of Halestorm, there's a bit of a southern influence to your music collection, the Allman Brothers.
Ah, yes.
Oh yeah,
Midnight Rider. Now, they're a band. Were you into that whole scene? Because Skinner, Blackfoot, and so on.
Well, I definitely was.
Basically, anything that you can listen to while riding a motorcycle, even though we don't ride motorcycles. But it's like there's just something about those bands that they weren't thinking about anything like it was going to be a radio hit. They weren't thinking about it like it was going to be their career. They just got together and played because there was nothing else to do, and just so happened that that genuine desire for music just bled through in this music, and we still listen to that stuff.
I think that live record that was kind of our first introduction to like real jam music, jam rock music, and maybe that and Pink Floyd where they'd have like 25-minute songs, but listening to that record with Whip and Post and all that, it was just like, wow, like, musical chemistry. And to this day we still go back to it, and we started implementing that in our live show, starting this musical language, spaces in our set where we can improv like that,
kind of controlled chaos almost, but then the control usually goes out the window. It never really works. Like,
if you've been to a Halestorm show, it's pure chaos,
It's a classic track, and here it is, the Allman Brothers, Midnight Rider on My Planet Rocks. Midnight Rider, the Allman Brothers on My Planet Rocks with my guest Halestorm this week. So if you started, was it always called Halestorm?
It was.
It really was, yeah.
Right, so there's a big gap because there's Halestorm version aged 10 to 13 to debut album in 2009. What were your plans? Was it going to be like a school band, playing coffee shops? Because I remember you saying you used to play the coffee shop.
We did everywhere. It was always going to be like we just had the desire. We want to be an arena rock band, it's like, but obviously they're in the beginning you just take the gigs, man. You take whatever they let you play.
Maybe if we sound like Cinderella and Motley Crue, we can play arenas. Well, it's not the 80s anymore, so whatever.
we started the band when I was 13, he was 10, and we named the band at our first gig ever, which was the Schuylkill County talent show. And we ended up winning third place, losing to the tap dancing cowgirl. She was much cuter than we were. That's a true story. Anyway,
back to the subject at hand.
But yeah, we named it Halestorm just like for that day because, little 10-year-old RJ was like, it's not cool if we go up there as Lizzie and RJ Hale. We have to have a band name. And it was just
make
us
look cool, man.
Yeah, so we're like, well, Halestorm, that'll work for today, and lo and behold, 18 years later, we still have the name. But yeah, one thing that we talk about, and we were just actually talking to a bunch of kids the other day about starting a band, and it's about taking everything. And so we played everywhere and anywhere. Like we played coffee houses where the rule was you had to be quieter than the cappuccino machine, and that was very difficult for Mr. RJ over here. But we played happy hour before we could legally be in the bars. They would stick us in a corner. We played a funeral once. Really, like everywhere that they would let us play. And a lot of them, some of them couldn't even pay us. So we're like, well, can you give us lunch or something like that?
Yeah.
Played Friendly's restaurant for free ice cream. That was that was a good gig.
It's just so important that the relentless hours that you have to put into anything to make it. Yeah. It's even tougher now too. I mean, in some ways it is, some ways it's not. With newer bands, you have outlets like social media and all that. We didn't have that. We would literally go to Staples and make a bunch of or whatever, copy store and make a bunch of flyers. It's going to be very
confusing to the kids. Flyering. This is something that we used to do back in the day, where you actually take a flyer that you went to the copy machine, you copied 100 of them, and you go around town and you staple them to posts. You put them into windows.
But still
the pizza shop.
The point is that still the principle is the same. You can't download the feeling that you get, the experience you get at a live concert. And live music, thank God, people still can't get enough of it, so playing out was so important for us to, build a fan base.
Before we talk 2008 onwards, a band, I'll tell you, the songs you chose, you can hear the influence in your music. Motorhead, who have influenced so many bands. It's a track that I think if you had to name 30 Motorhead tracks, they probably wouldn't name this one, even though
well, it's funny, everybody always picks the ones that literally everybody knows, but there's such an underrated band, and there's so many great tracks, and there's so many just different, than maybe Killed by Death or or Ace of Spades.
We really, really miss Lemmy. It's a it was kind of a bummer.
We said that when he passed, like, well, now we're all mortal. It's like it as well. And there was hope for some of us, and now there isn't anymore. But that's the beauty of rock and roll, is that, like, we keep playing their music and we keep listening to the records, and they really don't go away. Well,
that's the good thing about music. It's timeless. It's a portal in time which you can't change. You just can't. It's ageless.
Universal language as well.
It really is, yeah.
And it's on the way next. Motorhead, Rock Out on My Planet Rocks. Motorhead, Rock Out on My Planet Rocks. And my guests this week, RJ and Lizzie from Halestorm. So when did you make the transition from playing funerals, coffee shops, to becoming, or hoping to be, a signed professional band? Because you went through all kinds of music and years.
For us, it was really when we found Joe and Josh, because we had kind of a rotating door of these, like, 16-year-old guitar players and bass players, and they would only stay in the band for about a year or 6 months, because we were very lucky to have the obsession. Like, we wanted to practice, and not everybody wanted to, and we wanted to write songs, not everybody wanted to do that. We had parents that would let us do that, and not everybody had parents that wanted them to be in a band. So we were very lucky, but it's really tough to find other kids with that same type of drive and influence and really, I say drive, but it's really, we were very unhealthily obsessed with this band.
Very driven.
Was like, it became so much more than a career choice for us. It was part of our identity, and to the point that we would introduce ourselves to people, like at a restaurant or something, be like, oh yeah, I'm Lizzie, and I'm in a band called Halestorm. You don't care, but I'm telling you anyway.
Your identity,
yeah. So anyway, we met Joe and Josh, 2003, and after they joined the band, it was like, boom, like, everybody wanted to work. We practiced 14 hours a day in my parents' basement. We still played everywhere and everywhere, but we were doing, like, the club scene at that point in time. So it was clubs, like, over, like, the long weekend, and then Joe and I would do these 4-hour acoustic gigs during the week in every bar that would let us play. And we
when I was too young to be in the bar,
we kept moving. Our mentality was never like, oh man, we're gonna get signed someday, or like, that was never the goal. Like, if that ends up happening, that's awesome. It's a good stepping stone to keep moving forward. But really, the be all end all goal with us was we just want to be able to do this every day. We want to say, what's next, and we still get excited about that. Like, like right now, like, we never thought we'd get to the UK, and now we've been here a couple times, and we cannot wait to come back. And it's just amazing. Like, we love having those moments with each other, and it's like, can you believe we're, like, doing this, man? It's cool. That never changed.
Never thought that would ever happen. So we're just lucky to be here, keep going.
We'll talk debut album after this. You've chosen my all-time favourite Stone Temple Pilots track, which is 2.5 minutes of just riff, Cracker Man off the debut album.
Well, part of this list that we put together was also to kind of pay homage to the rock legends that we lost, and just keep them in our memory. And so Scott Weiland, was just one of the greatest frontmen of all, like, one of my biggest influences, so we had to put that in.
Off the debut album, it's Cracker Man on My Planet Rocks. Cracker Man, Stone Temple Pilots on My Planet Rocks. Is Planet Rock with my guests this week, the Halestorm siblings, for those who didn't realise, your brother and sister, Lizzie and RJ.
Hence the last name Hale.
Yes. So 2009, the debut album comes out. What did you think would happen? I mean, I know you were saying you just wanted to play, but at that point, you've got a record. And you will have a tour schedule, so your train of thought must shift. Your ambitions, you must start dreaming, for want of a better phrase. Your ambitions must change. Where were you both at then?
Well, that was quite the journey. We went through a lot of ups and downs while making the debut record. When the album finally came out in 2009, we were like,
just relieved.
We were relieved that it came out, but we were also kind of freaking out because we don't know what the world is going to think now. It's like, we enjoy it, and we had a great time recording, and pretty much our first time in a real studio.
Yeah, and when we started seeing results, when we started seeing more and more people coming out to the shows, we would go to our label and say, like, this is amazing. People actually know who we are. People like us. And again, like, turn to your bandmates and like, okay, we have enough steam with this to keep moving. What are we going to do next? How are we going to top this? What are we going to do? And
it was great when we heard I Get Off for the first time on the radio, and like
oh my God.
Yeah, we literally videotaped the radio.
We videotaped the radio. It's probably on YouTube somewhere.
My gosh. Yeah, it was crazy.
We'll talk the second album, the Grammy Awards, and the third album, and get up to date and beyond after a track from a band who are the same era as you, pretty much year for year, Rival Sons.
Oh, yeah.
They've almost followed a similar trajectory. And another band that are here, just like you all the time as well, so they're doing well in the UK.
We've known about them for a long time, and as of, I think it was last year?
Last year
we finally got to do a tour with them. Unfortunately, the tour got cut short, and but they were like literally like one of the best opening acts that we've ever had, that we just wanted to watch them every night, and now they're doing well over here, so we're just, we just love the guys. They're great.
And they're just amazing.
Yeah.
They're like, we were just talking about this. They're like Zeppelin without being Zeppelin. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not, I'm not saying they sound like Zeppelin, but they have that weird, you get the same feeling from it, and they plug in, they play, they're great players, and just love those dudes.
Great singers, yeah, that's a great point. I think, for us, we always keep an ear to the ground for the newer artists coming out, and sometimes that will inspire you even more, just to see something fresh and new,
It's a great track. It's the first single from their latest album. They've got their new one coming out in about 4 months' time. It's Rival Sons, I'm Electric on My Planet Rocks. Rival Sons, I'm Electric on My Planet Rocks, here on Planet Rock with my guests this week, RJ and Lizzie from Halestorm.
Oh, yeah.
What's up?
So, let me get my timeline right. 2009 debut album. The Grammy Award was what, 2012?
2013.
Blimey.
Yeah, I know, right? Time flies.
Time does fly. Was it at that point you thought, okay, we're here, we are going to do well now?
That was a complete mess.
That's such a shocker.
Yeah, we found out we were nominated, and we found out when we were on stage. So I just, I guess I had look like somebody died on my face.
And I'll tell you, that was enough.
Yeah.
Like, we were just at the, once we found out we were nominated, we're like, we won. Like, it doesn't matter what happens now.
They can't take that away from us. And we were just shocked that the Academy even knew who the hell we were, And so we automatically were like, guys, like, we don't have this, but it's going to be so much fun. We've never gotten to do this before. Let's do, like, can you believe it?
It's a night out, free food.
Oh, it was so crazy.
God.
But it was so crazy.
The night before was just,
Because,
so the night before the Grammys, you go to this special ceremony for the nominees. You stand in a queue, you fill something out, and they give you your medallion, your nomination medallion. And we got the medallions, we were taking pictures, we were partying with our label in LA, and we were just like, having many, many drinks and many, many good times, and we were just like celebrating. We wore them the whole night around our necks.
Yeah, we were dorks.
And then coming back to the hotel, we were partying, so I was a little stumbling, back and forth. And
you got emotional.
And my the ribbon holding my medallion broke in the back of my neck, and it fell down and went ding right on Sunset Boulevard and put a big dent in it. And I was like,
which is awesome. Actually,
and I was so sad.
We were laughing so hard.
Oh God, but I wasn't. I was so bummed. I went back to the hotel. I threw my coat down. I went to sleep. I was like, never mind. And then the next day we won the actual Grammy. So I'm like, oh, to hell with the medallion. I've got the actual thing now. So it turned out.
It was such a shock, man. Because like, you never think as a band that you're gonna get to that point, and we consider it to this day just a kind of a personal triumph, because the category that we won was hard rock / metal performance. So this wasn't for the album or the production. This wasn't for the song. This was for the four of us playing in a room together, the performance of the song. And so we really did take that as a personal triumph, and just were like, guys, like, we've been doing this how long together, and who thought, like, we watch the Grammys every year, and who thought we'd actually be here and be able to experience that. So it's good times.
And here we are.
And here you are, yeah. Well, before we get up to the third album, and now, I keep saying 2015, we're in 2016 now. Where is life going? You pay tributes to another fallen hero, David Bowie. Forgive the pun, because you've chosen the track Heroes as well.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think he was brilliant. And I mean, in light of everything, and I know it's obviously, like, not to bring it down, because it's a bummer that we lost him, but what a class act, man. What a way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he didn't harbor the sympathy from anybody. He didn't tell anyone that he was sick. And then he happens to put out one of the, in my opinion, one of the best records of this year.
Yeah, same here.
And then, we get to live with it for a weekend, and then we lost him. But at the same time, it's like, what a crazy thing to do. He never stopped right up until the end,
It is a classic, and he was a classic and a class act. It is David Bowie, Heroes on My Planet Rocks. Heroes, David Bowie on My Planet Rocks, and my guests this week, RJ and Lizzie from Halestorm. Lizzie, has it ever got or is it patronising that people probably focus on the fact that you're a female singing guitarist because it's a minority thing?
It is a fact, though.
They don't. Yeah, well, it's a fact. You're a female, but you'll always in this country they always want to compare female guitarists to other female guitarists. Rather than just saying great singer, great guitarist, it has to be. They have to put you up against. I don't know. It could be anyone. Sharon Denadella within Temptation, or Ann Wilson.
They gotta pull. I don't know.
Those aren't bad comparisons.
That's good company.
It's definitely good company. I think I mean, it's something that we're kind of. I feel like maybe with the next generation, we're growing out of the. Just kind of lumping everybody into a category. Me personally, my view of all of it is as I kind of always have blinders to that because it's not really anybody's fault that they do it. They're not doing it like to be malicious or to be like, well, you're a girl, I need to put you in this category. I think they're just trying to figure out with this, especially these past couple generations, what to do with it. Because really, it wasn't that long ago that I got to speak to Miss Pat Benatar about it, and she's like, was telling me these horror stories about how she had to literally debate whether she's gonna sit in some PD's lap, to get her record played, and I've never had to go through any of that.
Yeah. No casting couch for you.
No, it's fine. But really, I mean, with the guys, I live with a bunch of dudes, and I always kind of have done my thing. I've never created music to make anybody like me or compare myself to anybody. So maybe that's selfish, but the biggest hurdle that I have to go through is really myself. It's like, am I living up to what I want to be on stage? Am I doing the best that I can do for my band? And so wherever they put me, it's fine. I'm not against it. I do what I want, and hopefully people still want to listen to music.
Bottom line is we're a rock band first, and the four of us internally, we don't look at anyone different than the next person. And if people are going to use that angle to help in any way, to help them or help us, then it's never a bad thing. It's always good to have some sort of something unique.
So with Into the Wildlife, the latest album post Grammy Award, was it almost like a clean slate? Do you see it as everything is a clean slate starting again? Or is it just a continuation of?
I think so. With this record, we definitely, with everything that happened with the last record, we thought, okay, that's awesome. But now I think what we need to do is kind of trust ourselves and shake everything up and just purely to keep the excitement going. And we really didn't have a plan for this record. For the first time ever, we didn't have a plan. We had a handful of songs that we knew we wanted to record. And this time we did everything live. So it was a lot of like, okay, we have to go with our gut and chase after whatever gets us excited and then see it through.
After we won the Grammy for Love Bites, you'd think that the people that are working with you would want you to recreate the same thing. Mm-hmm. And we got really lucky that, that they trusted us enough to just go in and just, take everything that we did, throw it away, start new.
Then we already have some really awesome plans for the next record, which I can't talk about, but we're writing, and it's gonna
constantly working on it.
Well, before we talk 2016 and the Carnival of Madness tour, one of the bands who you did the Carnival of Madness tour with, you've chosen their latest single, Blackstone Cherry.
Oh yeah, I want to tell you, man, this band, incredible players, and even if you can even imagine this, more incredible than they are as musicians, they are just amazing dudes. And
it's so incredibly heartwarming to see these guys that we've known for so long coming over here to the UK and headlining arenas. That's exactly where they deserve to be, because I think that they're one of the best rock bands,
and they're so appreciative of it. They do not take it for granted. Every night they're thanking everybody, and you can see every night they're just getting choked up at like everybody singing their songs, and we get inspired every night by these guys on this tour.
Yeah, we watch them every night. We're like, we got to practice.
It's new Blackstone Cherry, In Our Dreams. It's My Planet Rocks. Blackstone Cherry, In Our Dreams on My Planet Rocks. It's Planet Rock with my guests, RJ and Lizzie from Halestorm.
Yo.
So what for you after this? Once you've left your friends behind, you're back on your own. Right. 2016, I presume, is going to be as busy as previous years.
No, we're booked through like June of this year, or maybe beyond that. I don't know, but yeah, we're busy, and we're coming to Download this year, which is awesome. I just
Download.
I got my wellies. I'm all prepared.
You'll need them.
Yeah, I know, right?
You'll need them knee high.
Yes, they're
snorkels
just
as well,
knees.
just in case it's the mud.
Snorkel.
Mine are thigh highs.
Ooh.
Some lacy on them.
It's gonna be cool. We're gonna be visiting you guys quite a few times this year, and just thank you so much to everybody for having us back. You know, like we keep saying, it's always been a dream for us, and every time we come over here, it's like that again. And you know, I finally figured out a way to kind of describe this for everybody, because you can do something a million times. You can be on stage a million times. You can sing for 60,000 people a million times, but it's still that same feeling every time that we come to the UK and we get to play for you guys. It's like going up a roller coaster. You're like, I've done this a million times before. You're going up that slope and you know what's coming, but it's like, oh my God, you're just so excited. So thank you for the sound effects. Thank you
for making us feel at home when we're this far away from home.
Well, RJ, Lizzie, it's been a pleasure as always. This must be the third or fourth time we've done this. God, I feel
You sick of us yet?
Not yet. No, but
we're working on
the
that.
band I've interviewed the most.
All right.
Keep trying.
Awesome.
See you later in 2016.